as we've seen since morning, right, our industry is being really disrupted by technology, by innovation all around us, and that's kind of really impacting the entire ecosystem, which is leading to a whole lot of collaboration between the financial institutions, the service providers, the regulators, and so on. So it's pretty an exciting time for all of us in this industry. Somebody had said that AI is going to take away jobs, but I think it's going to create so much more for all of us together. But we all know, for people in the industry, navigating this journey is quite complex. It's not an easy task. We are faced with a lot of realities of where we are today, both from a technology side, process, data, and so on. So the realities of execution are really hitting a lot of people. So today's discussion, we will try to leave the buzzwords aside and talk a little bit about what it actually means to execute and run operations to change the financial institutions from inside, and how do we make the whole thing work. Okay. So as mentioned, I'm Rajdeep. I'm Corporate Vice President with WNS, a Capgemini company, and we work with banks and financial institutions globally to scale intelligent operations using data, process, and the two-letter word that we talked about earlier. Joining with me are two very senior leaders. One person from Saudi Arabia. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, but what I was really excited about this chat was we're going to have somebody who's leading the entire operations of a large bank, and another distinguished gentleman who's actually making the change happen by implementing technology solutions within the bank. So maybe I can start with introducing Vishal.
Thanks, Raj. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vishal Bhardwaj. I'm the Group Head of Operations for Commercial Bank of Dubai. I've been working in banking operations for the last 26 years across Southeast Asia and for the last 3 years in Dubai. I'm really looking forward to this conversation, Raj. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. I'm Ahmad Darwish, Head of Digital Banking Solutions, Delivery and Products in Bank Al Balad, Saudi Arabia. Almost 33 years of experience in IT, digital and business. For the last 7 years, heading these departments in Bank Al Balad to deliver the vision of the bank from digital perspective. Thank you for having me here, and I wish if I could be adding value to this discussion, inshallah.
Thanks a lot. So maybe, Dr. Ahmed, let's start with you, right? And let's start with what's really happening at the board level. So let's talk about what are the conversations that you're hearing from board level or from the boardroom in terms of driving transformation, and how has that kind of evolved in the last 12 months?
Without disclosing the confidential information about these discussions, and I will try to talk about Saudi banks in general, just to make a variety of ideas to the audiences. Banks in Saudi Arabia now are in that dilemma of fintech, bank, and so on. So one of the key discussion points all the time in the banking in Saudi is either to unbank the bank, so open your own fintech companies under a subsidiary of the group. So these fintech companies are actually complementing the services that the bank is giving. For example, in Saudi, if you are going to give financing to any person, it cannot exceed 33% of his income. Okay, fintechs are getting 45% leverage instead of 33% only for banks. So some banks are building fintechs to be able to give that extra 12% to customers, making them a bit different from others. So even providing some payment services or others, and instead of that market share goes out to fintechs, they keep it under their umbrella. So this is one of the strategic discussions happening with some of these banks. The second, let's say, approach is to venture capital those fintechs, is by opening a venture capital company like what some banks did. They have let's say, innovation, let's say, lab or venture capital to fund the new ideas and fintech startups. So this is also taking place in the boardrooms. The third point is that you participate or cooperate with fintechs and become the back-end bank to serve them and try to increase the partnership and the profit of each. So this is one of the key discussions happening, especially after two big names in Saudi. One of them just put some share in one of the fintech companies or open banking companies like Darahim or Manaa. So that investment has opened the door for the leaders to think about this. About other aspects which is normally happening is that building on top of what we have achieved so far, because digital transformation, as I always mention, is a journey of maturity. So it's not only a journey where when you reach a level of maturity, you can go to the next. You cannot jump simply from one level to the third one without going to the second level, and then you start capitalizing on what you have achieved. So this is one of the key things that we always discuss. We have, for example, developed a product called Wakala Investment for customers, which is purely Islamic and Sharia compliant product. One of its, let's say, kind in the whole world. So this year the discussion was how to make some other benefits out of this product, which is now becoming famous, and all banks customers are talking about it. I have a lot of customers who moved their bank account and investment from other banks to our bank just to make sure that they are getting something Sharia compliant, and I'm talking about millions and billions what we have today in this product. So this is the second point. The third point is the agility and time to market, which is always a big point for the board.
And so, Vishal, how does it kind of percolate down to senior leaders like yourself in terms of what is the board really looking at in terms of technology disruption? What does it mean? What is their priority? What are they really asking you guys?
I think the ask from operators like us has always been consistent. The ask has been to deliver client excellence in whichever shape and form. So what you were doing 20 years back through process simplification, re-engineering, automation, digitization, etc. The tools are changing, but the ask is consistent, is to deliver client excellence better than anyone else. And if that means that you use all the tools available, you use all the tools available. You're not, there's definitely an expectation that no one is left behind. It should not be that your competitors are using XYZ tool and hence delivering a better client experience and you're not using it and you get left behind. So I think the push is not for the tools and technology per se, the push is more in terms of better outcomes and client value.
Dr. Ahmed, you were talking about you're driving digital product delivery in one of Saudi Arabia's largest bank. And we talked a little bit earlier that AI and other technologies are, there's a lot of experimentation going on and there are a lot of POCs that are really successful, right? But how do you really make sure that we move beyond the POC stage and ensure that we don't get stuck into experimentation and we are actually delivering measurable outcomes?
This is a question where I can feel that you was with us last week talking about the same. Yeah, it's a big issue that we continue doing R&D, innovation, and especially we have an innovation lab in the bank. A lot of vendors visiting us. We talk about a lot of ideas, a lot of initiatives, a lot of good things that we can do. But converting this into reality is always a challenge. So what we have done during the study of our recent, let's say, strategy is how we do what is called innovation cycles. So instead of that, you continue doing this forever. You have to do something tangible within 3 months or 6 months. So you set some time limits for this kind of innovation to make sure that you are not in that loop, forever, just like someone inside the blender, is always trying to innovate without any outcome. So by innovation cycles, by another initiative called, let's say, Venture Studio, where you can also incubate or host some of the ideas about the fintechs, either for their ideas that they came up with, or with the problems and challenge that you have inside the bank to be able to get rid of them. So these kind of actions and let's say mechanics can convert the dreams of the ideas and innovation that you're continuously running through into reality and initiatives where you can convert this into a real value for ROI and benefits to the bank and to the customers.
Thank you so much. I used to work in a global bank, and one of the jokes that was there is that we probably had more number of risk types than the number of products that we're selling. Vishal, a little bit on institutional lockers, right? We are in a regulated environment. We have, we talked about legacy systems and all that. How do you manage or balance this tension of keeping the lights on, being resilient versus experimenting and trying to move forward faster?
That's going to be a challenge for all legacy banks and financial institutions, and that is you run on a set of legacy banking systems. The previous panel also talked about it. I think the challenge always the key is keen understanding of what the real use case you're solving for. I mean, don't go tool first, go problem first. So if you have a problem first approach rather than a tool first approach, it should not be that, okay, I have this tool, now let's look at where I can fit this tool. Instead of that, if you start with a problem and say, I have this problem, what solves this problem? Now, this problem can be solved by simply cleaning up the process, employing better people. It can be solved by a linear automation, or this needs something more evolved. So I think one of the blockers, people say that, okay, I'm constrained by legacy systems, and so on and so forth. But a lot still can be solved around that. Because even with legacy systems, banks have upgraded, even by retaining a legacy code, you can still upgrade everything around the code and modernize it, right? And then still use the latest tools and technology. So this, I don't see, I see less blockers in terms of tech. I see more blockers in terms of mindset and in terms of solving for the problem and not for the solution.
Dr. Ahmed, while researching your background, saw that you are a big proponent of agility and ways of working, right? And your frameworks are quite being used in the region in terms of either PMO as well as Agile. How does ways of working really improve the speed of delivery for us to get to a better pace, which is either smarter banking or better, faster banking?
To enhance the way of doing things on a daily basis is always objective, and you are continuously thinking about how to change the work style more than just having tools. Because the work style is more impactful than just having tools to use. And changing the mindset of the people working with you is something also very important to achieve the progression and enhancing whatever delivery time, the time to market, and these kind of things. Yani one of the good examples that I always give to my team is that think agile all the time, think innovative, try to bring new ideas to the table. Don't be afraid to bring even a stupid idea. We accept ideas. Don't worry about whether it's a silly one or not. We can tailor it. And I remember one of the fresh graduates who came to the bank maybe 4 or 5 years back. She was having a simple idea. When we presented in the elevator pitch, let's say session, the team in the session tailored the idea into a big one. So I told them this is a very good example of don't think quietly, think loudly. So say what you have internally to be able to get some insights and inputs from the team. And this is the good thing in innovation. Innovation is not done by one person. Innovation is a teamwork. Innovation is something that can be converted into reality when we know how to do things in the right way. Having a visionary person for sure in the middle, or I don't want to say at the top, because I would like to have the team as one team. It's not top-down kind of things. So when someone inside the team is visionary, we can convert all of this into reality. And I remember, I still remember the date, 9th of October, which is almost a month from now. An AI company came to visit us, and he was having very good experience in AI, but not how to convert this into use cases for banking. And this is what we have done with him, and he was really, I don't want to say surprised, but he was really impressed by how we can convert the ideas and the tools that he has into banking product.